franchise quarterback. Sean McVay, the head coach, on this #puzzling loss.
This game just got away from us. That's the best way to describe it. Got away from us, and I think everyone on offense, defense, special teams would look at themselves and say, we can be better. And it's, again, I've said this before, it starts with me. I can be better. And I think we just, like I mentioned, we let the game get away from us.
We didn't do nearly enough tonight to be competitive. They did a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of things that we can clean up. I didn't do nearly a good enough job, and I think what we'll all look at ourselves is critically figure out what we can do to improve, flush this out of our system, and then we move forward, preparing for our next opponent.
Here's what this means for the Rams. Another loss in the NFC playoff picture. I mean, they currently sit 2 games back of the Vikings for the final wildcard spot in the NFC. The division all but lost now as they fall 4 games back of the 49ers with 5 yet to play. The Eagles and Cowboys battling for the top spot, of course, in the NFC East, but they'll probably have to take the wild card route, right? The Rams holding on by a thread at 6-5. Percentage chances are what they are. They're sort of different by different calculations, but it's less than 20% chance right now that the Rams can make it. Is it a wrap on their season? Time to wrap them.
This is tough because I had so much faith in the Rams. I thought that they would carry the momentum of last season, not necessarily Super Bowl loss, but last season into this year, and they just don't have the juice. Offensively is one thing, but I would have thought that they'd have more of an impact defensively. I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
If you double Donald, does this defense do damage? I know it's a little bit of a tongue twister. The answer is no, they don't do damage. I was looking at a stat yesterday while watching the game. Donald has been double-teamed over 50% of his snaps this year. While I'm watching the game, I think it goes through 2 quarters. He was doubled every single play. They need to sniff Lamar Jackson. So for me, the offense is one thing. I kind of have faith that they'll catch a rhythm. But if the defense can't get to the quarterback, put pressure on the quarterback, and then they put their safeties and cornerbacks in a bad position quarter after quarter, then what is this team?
Yeah.
They're neither offensively explosive or defensively dominant. So if you're asking me, is it a wrap? Okay, I might have to say yes.
Why do you think that their offense will find a rhythm?
I have faith in Sean McVay. And maybe it's just me having faith in something that's not there. But I do feel like they'll self-correct. They have too much talent, Kyle.
It's late. Listen, everyone, the question is, what the hell happened? Of all the teams, we all had faith in them. McVay, the receivers, Gurley, who knows? But they have so many players. It all seems to come back to last week, or to last year, rather. The sort of Rosetta Stone of what happened to the Rams goes back to the Bears game in primetime last year. You remember this? It was at Soldier Field, and it was like the party stopped for the Rams offense in the McVay Express. Jared Goff was beat up, bruised, everything, and the belief is, well, people saw how to do it. You saw what happened in the Super Bowl, and now this week, here's some raw numbers. Before this game, the Sean McVay Rams put up 30 points 19 times.
Before that Bears game?
Yes, before this Bears game. Since then, they've done it 2 times. One of them was a loss to Jameis Winston. So Gurley's not the same. The O-line, Peter's talked about a little bit. This is what happens. You have a sensation. It's going to change the league. It's going to change everything. Teams catch up, and people point to that night when that Vic Fangio defense #figure them out, and it's tough to argue otherwise because they have not looked the same since they left that stadium.
I think no one's got more egg on their face than me because I came in August and September and assured all of you Gurley's going to be just fine. And I picked the Rams to win the Super Bowl this year. I mean, I went on and said they're going to beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and they're going to right all the wrongs of what happened. And last night, I don't know Chip Dean, who's the director for Monday Night Football. Him and Jay Rothman do the show.
Okay.
There was a good 50-minute span where they didn't show McVay, and I'm like, I wonder if they're under instruction not to show. That's how irrelevant McVay is right now. It was a 9-minute Ravens drive. It's all Ravens sideline shots, and I'm like, you go back to last year's Monday Night Football game in the Coliseum, Week 11.
Yeah.
They're playing the Chiefs. We're supposed to reinvent the way we watch football.
McVay was like the face of the league.
This game here we came out of this, and it was like, this is how football is going to be played, and the Rams are going to be here forever. Last night, there could not have been a more irrelevant team in the same building a year later than that very uniform that they're wearing there. It was like watching Jekyll and Hyde. And McVay is completely off the radar as far as Coach of the Year talk, coaching prowess talk. It's amazing how quickly this league adjusts, and it's amazing how quickly your fortunes can turn. And if you look at what they got in the future, they're opening a stadium next year. They've got Goff locked down for about the next 40 years. They got Gurley under the biggest contract for any running back. McVay signed to a long-term deal. And Jalen Ramsey, you just gave up your 2 first-round picks for the next 2 years. There's not a first-round pick to be seen. It ain't pretty, and I don't think playoffs are a realistic opportunity with the way the NFC
We're talking McVay, we're talking Donald, who's an excellent player being double-teamed. We're talking weapons. Like, it's Goff. Goff has more interceptions than touchdowns. You can't give him. He's not even getting paid on that new deal yet. That new deal kicks off next year when they're moving into the new stadium and all of that happens. Like, some of the blame has to be on him, even just a little bit. I don't know what's going on with their offense, but to have 12 interceptions to 11 touchdowns. He has not thrown a touchdown since October 27th. Like, he's got to take some ownership of that. Just like we blame Carson Wentz and other QBs that aren't performing. Like, it's not all McVay, guys. It's not all Todd Gurley. It's not all the tough defenses that they face. This is something going on with their quarterback too.
Yeah, because when he's doing well, there's this conversation about is he a passenger on McVay, but now he's not. Everyone's pointing to McVay. I think to your point, Kay, can you imagine if this was Kirk Cousins doing this?
Yeah.
If it was Carson Wentz. Absolute annihilation. I feel like, honestly, with Jared Goff, there's some apathy. It's out on the West Coast. They don't watch a lot of the Rams. He doesn't have a big personality. Here's a number, 191.5. The total combined contracts for Jared Goff and Todd Gurley in millions that they're set up for, and neither one of them looks like they can make a play right now. It's rough.
A lot of talent. It is definitely rough. More Good Morning Football on the way. We have a huge guest coming in studio. One of the most talented lyricists in the game, as you said.
No doubt about it. He's my top lyricist in the game. Royce the 5'9", one of the best rappers in the business. Detroit legend. He's going to come in and talk about a new track that they're doing with the Rock Nation Initiative.
Love that. Jason Garrett's going to respond to critical